What's going on, guys? Welcome to another post-game live here on Dime Dropper for the 2025-26 season. Before we get started, you already know the drill. Make sure you subscribe on Dime Dropper for all things LA basketball and LA sports. We are live from Los Angeles tonight, as always. Make sure you hit the notification bell and subscribe to get us up to 14,000 subscribers. And, of course, if you want to be a member of the channel, you are entitled to a members-only live every Wednesday, although we postponed it to – we'll do one on Friday instead. This week, where you can come up to the stage, debate me on anything. All your comments will be read. We can break down film together of any player, any team, whatever it may be from the last 15 years or 20 years. And then, of course, we'll be having a giveaway at 25 members and 50 members for each fan base, Clippers and Lakers. I'll also be talking about the last Laker game before LeBron came back after this Clippers-Hawks game. And if you haven't checked out the two latest lives, I talked about Chris Paul getting cut. Last night, we did an immediate reaction when he got cut with fans jumping on the stage. And then today, when we got more information about why he got cut, I came out and did another live. So anyway, regardless, this is all I have to say. We got to win. It snaps our 5-game losing streak. This one was against the Hawks, 115-92 against a Hawks team that did not have Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, or what's his name? Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, or Kristaps Porzingis. Now, when they played us at Intuit Dome and beat us 105-102, they did have Jalen Johnson and Kristaps Porzingis. They just didn't have Trae Young. And Jalen Johnson had 16, 10, and 8 in that game, and Porzingis had 20 in that game. So without those guys, they were really limited offensively. But granted, our Clippers have been losing to teams with everybody out. So it was just a matter of getting a win by any means necessary. And we were able to do that tonight, and I thought it was a pretty solid performance by the team for the first time in a while. I'm not going to say, oh, Chris Paul's gone, that's why we won. He was the cancer. I think we're going to need a much larger sample size of games to conclude those thoughts. But we definitely looked good. And this is the first time I can say that for a while. We're now up to 6-16. If you're wondering, does it change anything? No, it doesn't change anything for me. I still think that we got to blow it up. I still think Lawrence Frank should get canned. I still think Ty Lue should get canned. I still think that we need to. James, Zoo, and Kawhi all played well tonight, upping their trade value. That's all I have to say about that. Kobe Sanders was really good. We'll be talking about that. He made me proud and excited for the potential future. The only thing I will say about not having Chris Paul is I thought we had better pace and our defense looked better. But remember, there were games that we DNP'd Chris Paul and we still didn't win. So it's not like we didn't try not playing CP3 before, but not having him around. Again, as I said, we'll have to wait and see if there were, long-term, are there going to be long-term benefits of that, if that was really the answer. But we win this one 115-92, a 23-point win, which I would believe, let me just check, would have to be our largest margin of victory. Oh, no, the Suns opener at home was our largest margin of victory this season at 27. We win this game by 23. And I thought we just came out with the right energy, but we've come out with pretty good energy in some of these games, but it's the second half that we kind of fall apart. And I thought that in the third quarter, we did a pretty good job of doing our job defensively, whether it be closing out on shooters, staying attached off screens, running, chasing guys out to the 3-point line, and Zubats contesting shots at the rim, everybody taking pride in their individual defense, whether it be point of attack or isolation. So we just did a pretty good job. And then something that I've been talking about is when we make shots, when we're actually hitting, and in this game, we shot 49% from the field. And again, 31% from three. So we didn't even shoot well from three. But you know what we were missing? We did shoot well from the free throw line, however, which has been one of the only good consistent themes this season, 85% from the line for us. I did say that soon enough, teams are not going to have outlier shooting games from three against us. And finally, we played against a team that did not have an outlier shooting game from three against us. The last time we played these guys, you can check the vlog. Bones got busy. If you're in the chat, link it in here. Vit Krejci went absolutely ballistic. Absolutely ballistic. Shout out to the members of the chat. We got NBA RJ saying finally won. Thank you for being a member. We're up to 12 members now. Jamal Clip 4 says they got down transition a lot faster today. Coincidence? See, I'm gonna respond to that. It is a little bit of coincidence. I think you definitely get a little bit of a faster pace, but what starts the transition game is getting stops. And we haven't been able to defend the three. We've been a poor defensive team all year. Once we get more stops, and you can make the argument that Chris Paul not being on the court helps with that. But as I said, there were games that we had Chris Paul DNP'd. The reality is we're playing against a team that has no offensive options. Their best offensive player is Nickeil Alexander-Walker, right? Or Dyson Daniels, who are known for their defense. So when you're, taking victory laps over one game, I think that you need to keep perspective and understand what you're watching. You know what I'm saying? So Jamal Clips 4 says, did you see Kobe Sanders talk about the leadership in the locker room today? I did not. But anyway, a couple guys I want to talk about. In the first quarter, we had the matchups wise, there was Nickeil Alexander-Walker guarding Harden, Dyson Daniels on Kawhi, Onyeka Okongwu on Ivica Zubac, Zachary Reese-Shea on Chris Dunn, and Mo Gay on John Collins. On the other side, James Harden on Dyson Daniels, John Collins on Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Ivica Zubac on Onyeka Okongwu, Kawhi Leonard was on Mo Gay, and then Chris Dunn on Reese-Shea. Those matchups don't really matter, though, because, again, we're switching 1 through 4, and nobody on their team was creating an offensive advantage, which, again, you can credit our defense for that. Finally, we had a good defensive game, kept the team under 100, but these guys are not NBA shot creators at high levels. We got to remember that as well. So two sides can be true to the coin. But James Harden, I thought he came out and was really good. In my opinion, he was my player of the game. He was uber aggressive from minute 1. Working in the pick and roll, making shots. He had 2 pull-up threes early, turned the corner well, and got to his floater. And in this game, we even saw some non-typical Harden shots. We know which shots James Harden's a master at. The step-back 3 going to his right, the floater going to his left when he turns the corner. But in this game, he had a little bit of – there was that shot in the third quarter when he was isoing on the right wing and had a series of moves and then hit a jumper falling away to his left. He brought out a lot of the stops, a lot of the, what's the word? He showed a lot of his repertoire tonight, I should say. And we went on a 9-0 run after being down 0-2. Zoo was in drop coverage, and I thought he did a pretty good job protecting the rim in this game. But one thing that I thought backfired on Atlanta was that they were hedging on the ball screens. And I think the reason why is because they don't feel like Onyeka Okongwu is going to protect the rim because he's only 6'10". He's a little undersized for a 5. He's averaging 1 block a game. I couldn't tell you what the Hawks rim protection level is when he's there, but they were trying to hedge on the ball screens and use speed, and it didn't work because Ivica Zubac, in addition to James Harden, appreciate the super chat. Edward says Chris Fraud Paul is gone. Finally, that jinx is gone. Again, you got to realize the messenger here, Edward, a huge Chris Paul hater. So anyway, but Ivica Zubac, I thought that he and John Collins both had a different demeanor about them tonight. And I don't believe that it's just level of competition. Shout out to my man Ross. He says a member, I saw that membership. Thank you so much. Said more effort on defense. Even Harden was more aggressive. And when we talk about not just Harden being more aggressive, but John Collins and Ivica Zubac being more aggressive, I thought their demeanor, just their body language was night and day. When Zubac is grabbing rebounds and just crushing the ball like it's an orange, I can see that his, what kind of Zoo we're getting. And not only that, he was finishing around the rim, right place, right time, dunking the ball. I always say that you can tell Zoo's, what kind of mood he's in, what kind of way he's going to play when he's dunking the ball, and how he's dunking the ball. And John Collins, I know he was playing against his former team, but he looked like he was on a mission. 6 points early on in the game, mid-range jumper, actually asking for the ball in the post against smaller guys. And that's something that Zoo was doing as well. He was actually asking for the ball on a lot of occasions tonight. And that's what it comes down to. We can blame James Harden and Ty Lue for not using Zoo enough. But when he asks for the ball, it at least makes us feel as viewers that he's doing his part of trying to be aggressive. And I saw a more assertive version of Zoo in this game. from that perspective, asking for the ball defensively on the glass. So that was really good to see. And same with John Collins. The rotations. I also, even though I'm on Team Fire Ty Lue now because of the whole Chris Paul thing, I just think that it's soft. Although, you know what? We don't know all the information, but I'm not going to switch up. I still am taking Chris Paul's side because I still believe that this team doesn't get it. But if they turn it around and somehow make the playoffs, then maybe I was wrong. Well, we can always be wrong with more information and more time. But right now, I'm adamant in my stance that I stand with Chris Paul on this. And one win against an Atlanta Hawks team without their three best offensive players is not going to change my opinion. But I'm happy to see that we won the game, and hopefully, you never know. One win could be all it takes to open the floodgates and get a little run going. There's nothing like that feeling of winning in the locker room. We got a chat from a member. He says Zubac is going to be the most critical piece, if not just to at least bump that trade value back up to the max if that's the direction we go. I agree. So anyway, we had a different substitution pattern. And by the way, Jonathan Ang, who was throwing strays? Was it Adam throwing strays, or was it people, callers, commenters? Let me know, because that's funny. Anyway, when we talk about our team, right, and our rotations, we did something a little different tonight. What Ty did was he took Zoo out midway through the first quarter. I'm gonna double check where exactly he was taken out of the game, or when exactly he was taken out of the game. Zubac came out with 4:33 to go in the first. We were up 18-10. We then went with a lineup with John Collins at the 5. So John Collins at the 5, Nico, and Kawhi and Harden stayed in. So you had Kawhi and Harden in, but Zubac's out, and we had Collins at the 5. And I thought John Collins did a pretty good job of getting going. He had 2 straight buckets right after that at the 5. And we were up 27-21 after 1. James Harden had 13 points in the first quarter, and Kawhi Leonard had 9. So I just like the general aggression from them. Second quarter, we took Collins out, and we had Nico at the 5 with Kawhi, Kobe Brown, Kobe Sanders, and Cam Christie. So in this game, we played Nico, Kobe, and Cam. So 9 deep, still no Brook Lopez, which honestly tonight it looked fine because we won. But I still believe that with the 3-point shooting deficiencies that we have, we should get him back involved. But we'll leave that to Ty. Again, same with the Chris Paul thing. I don't think it's going to make or break us, if Brook Lopez plays or not. But I think we are at a deficiency in 3-point shot making and volume right now that we could use Brook for that respect. But in the second quarter, that lineup, that small ball line with Nico at the 5, I don't think it was great. But immediately in this, Zubac came back in for Kobe Sanders 1 minute into the quarter. So we were only up by 3. So in those non-Zoo minutes, we were outscored by 5 points. But then Zubac came in and pretty much restored order. In the beginning, actually, in that second quarter, he was missing some shots. He airballed a left-handed jump hook by a lot, and it was a crazy miss for him. But then we kind of, got him back in the swing of things. We went on an 8-0 run after trailing 32-33, and we ended the half on a 15-3 run. And I think John Collins, Kawhi, Zoo, and Harden were just doing their thing and all being, I don't want to say the best version of themselves because Kawhi Leonard was not really super efficient tonight. But I thought in terms of what they were doing out there on both ends of the floor, I thought we were getting a pretty good version of them. John Collins, he had a block. He had a steal where he just ripped the ball and it was a 50-50. And I haven't seen that level of aggression from John Collins often this season. So I don't know, playing against his former team brought that out of him. It was nice to see. Zubac, it's very frustrating because we know it's in him. And you can say that, Okongwu was smaller than him by 2 inches or 3 inches. And he, felt that he was stronger than him, taller than him. But it shouldn't just be down to the competition level because there are times where we've played these shorthanded teams. I mean, we played the Dallas Mavericks who were playing Dwight Powell and Dwight Powell, and I forget who else. But we should be, Zubac should be dominating those guys, and it should be it's a mentality thing more than anything for me. It's not just competition level. So both of them can be better every single night, and tonight is an example of that. Kobe Sanders, I thought he had a great impact in this game. A nice cut when Zubac was getting doubled on the baseline in that second quarter that led to an and one. He hit an open three. But yeah, it was a good Zoo half. He had 12 and 10 in the first half. Kobe Sanders doing a good job of getting in the paint and driving and kicking. And, Kobe Sanders, he doesn't have the best handle. He's not the shiftiest. He's not the quickest, but he's very tall. He has a good handle for his size, and he's fundamentally sound. I think once he improves his handle and his shot making, just like the basic skill work, mixed with the IQ and the size that he has, I think he's going to be a really solid player in this league and someone that we have to hold on to for sure. But Zoo was a plus 19 in his first half minutes, plus 19. And as a team, we forced 11 turnovers. We outscored the Hawks 28-20 in the second quarter to go into the half with a 55-41 lead. And I just figured that super chat by Kame RJ says Bogey coming back soon should help as well. Absolutely. Oh, of course there was Jonathan Ang. The Harden stands. They suck. And there's some of them in here right now. They are terrible. But anyway, so Kobe Sanders, really good half. In the second half, I was just thinking, don't choke. I was very, very attentive to how we would come out in the second half of the game, right? How we would come out in the second half of the game. Anyway. But as I said in the top of the show, we played good defense. We were, taking care of business and doing our thing. So proud of that. Harden threw some really nice wrap passes with both hands. And those are very impressive, especially when he throws those with the right hand, the way he wraps them around to the curlers. Really nice pass there. And as I said, Zubac was finishing strong. Kawhi, generally his aggression was good. Just a lot of shots were short, but I don't think it was a bad game for him by any means, because I think the shots that he was taking were fine, and I also liked how aggressive he was. And as I said, the hedging strategy in the beginning, I didn't expand on it. It backfired for Atlanta because it let Zoo get in short roll situations, and he hasn't been great in those this season, but he looked a lot better tonight, making good reads, finding the open man. And if I'm a team against the Clippers, I would play drop coverage, take away James coming off the screen, and then whoever's guarding the corner man sink and take away Zoo to force James Harden or Zoo to kick it out to the open shooters that have not been making shots, right? That's what I would do. If you're playing, hedging or blitzing defense on Harden, then you're getting us into 4-on-3 situations where we get a lot more cutting and a lot more of, whoever was guarding the corner man has to come guard Zoo at the free throw line. That gives Chris Dunn and Derek Jones Jr. or John Collins, whoever's healthy, the chance to dive to the basket. So we often get layups. So I really believe that was a strategy that backfired on the Atlanta Hawks. And then another thing, how about the fact that the first game off minutes restriction for Kawhi Leonard, we ended up winning? I kept saying that minutes restriction was a killer because Kawhi is our best player, or, for those that think Harden's better, second best player. We need him to be able to be used how we want to use him in a given situation, not having restrictions. So in the fourth quarter, it was basically donezo. I thought Sanders did a good job of continuing to make plays, knocking down open threes, getting 2 feet in the paint, driving and kicking, playing solid defense. So we ended up cruising to a victory, 115-92. We outscored the Hawks in that crucial third quarter, 39-32. So we really had it rolling offensively. And then in the fourth quarter, 21-19 to win it 115-92, snap our 5-game losing streak. And we are 6-16 now on the season, 1-1 on this road trip. And the next 3 games to end it, well, we got the Memphis Grizzlies next. They've been struggling a bit of late, to say the least, but they're 9-13, so they're still playing better basketball than we are. John Morant is out. Ty Jerome is still out. Brandon Clark and Scottie Pippen Jr. are still out. So it's another chance to win for us. And I honestly think we might be favorites. And if we win 2 games in a row, then the rumbles are really going to start. But again, we will see. We're in a little bit of a hole right now, to say the least, when it comes to the standings. Even with that win, we are still in 13th place in the Western Conference, 3 games outside of the 10 seed. So anyway, yes, let's read the lines now for the Atlanta Hawks. I don't even know if it's really worth it to read their lines, but Our good old friend Luke Kennard, four for five today. 3 for 4 from deep, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a turnover. Asa Newell, 11 points, 1 rebound, 1 steal, and 2 turnovers. I actually like him. 4 for 6 in the field, 2 for 3 from downtown. 6'10", 23rd pick in the draft out of Georgia. And then their starters, Mo Gay had 0 points in 23 minutes. Drastic difference to what he did against the Lakers when I watched him play. So yeah, 0 points for Mo Gay, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 turnover, 0 for 2 shooting. Risa Shea had 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 dimes, 2 steals, 1 turnover on 4 for 11 shooting and 1 for 4 from 3. Dyson Daniels had 15 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 3 turnovers on 6 for 13 shooting, 0 for 2 from downtown, and 3 for 3 from the free throw line. And then you have Onyeka Okongwu, who did not shoot well in this game at all. He got absolutely mauled by Zoo. 7 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 turnovers on 3 for 12 shooting, 1 for 6 from 3. So, for example, right, it was on the scouting report to let Onyeka Okongwu shoot. So, like the same way it was on the scouting report to let Bam Adebayo shoot. And this time, they didn't actually rain on us. So that was big time. That was like, we needed to have a team regress when it comes to the outlier 3-point shooting, like actually shoot like their normal selves. Yes, good point here by Kamehame RJ. Says, I want to see how Zoo does rebounding with Edie after our last matchup. Absolutely. He got outplayed in that one. And then their leading scorer was Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who had 21 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 turnover on 7 for 18 shooting, 2 for 7 from downtown, and 5 for 7 from the free throw line. For us, let's begin with Kobe Brown, who I thought at times was still over helping on shooters. He was okay for me. I still stand by that. I don't think he's an NBA player, but I'm here to support him regardless, whether we blow it up or we stay with this team. 3 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 turnover on 1 for 2 shooting and 1 for 2 from the free throw line. And then Cam Christie, 4 points, 5 rebounds, had a nice and 1 in transition, 1 steal on 2 for 5 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3, and 0 for 1 from the free throw line. Nico Batum, it feels like he's really making his open threes lately. So, as I said, I always have faith in Nico that he's going to turn it around with the shooting. 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, always contributes to our defense positively for the most part, 99% of the time, I'd say. 6 points on 2 for 4 shooting, and obviously all 4 of those shots were threes. And then you had Chris Dunn, who actually played less minutes than Kobe Sanders and started, who had 8 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, and no turnovers on 4 for 6 shooting and 0 for 1 from 3. You saw some good moments of him cutting in the short rolls off of Zubats. So that was some good stuff. I thought Chris had a very solid game. And without his defense, I mean, what would we have? You know, despite the fact that he's been gambling more this season, he's been reaching more this season, and it's been getting us into trouble, he is still our best on-ball defender. And then we have John Collins, who had a nice homecoming game, tied a game-high plus 24 in the plus-minus, 15 points, 9 boards, 1 assist, 2 steals, and a block. Just 1 turnover as well on 6 for 13 shooting. Still can't hit the 3 ball. 0 for 3 from downtown. 3 for 3 from the foul line. Those 3 offensive rebounds were awesome, but hopefully John Collins can make the 3 ball because we're going to need it going forward. You know, part of the reason we got this guy was because he shot 37% from 3 last. I'm sorry, 40% from 3 last year. He's shooting 32% right now, and it might go down to 31 after an 0 for 3 game tonight. But overall, very good performance by John Collins. Those are the kinds of performances that we got him for. And then Zoo, 14 and 17 tonight. 17 boards, 5 assists, 3 turnovers on 6 for 8 shooting and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. So very efficient. The only 2 shots he missed were those 2 shots in the beginning of that second quarter stint when he came back in. But I thought he was really good tonight. And you can see it with the stats. I mean, double-double with the 5 assists. Hopefully it's something that we'll see consistently. That's what I'm hoping for. And then we had Kawhi Leonard, who had 21 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, 3 turnovers on 7 for 21 shooting, 1 for 7 from 3. So he was 6 for 14 from 2, which isn't bad. His 3-ball just wasn't falling, and a lot of his shots were short. So again, first game playing over 30 minutes at 35. Maybe his legs were getting to him. It felt like when he was missing those shots. But I still thought he played well. Without James Harden in the game, we were giving Kawhi Leonard the keys to the offense. And if we didn't have Kawhi Leonard, we would not have won this game, in my opinion. At least it would have been much harder. So 21 points, even if it's inefficient, does not grow on trees. It's the amount of attention that he gets. And plus, he was tied for second on the team in assists as well. So, and then in addition to some solid defense. So I thought Kawhi was good despite the shooting. Then my player of the game is James Harden. And for those of you that were saying that Harden quit last game, and I said, I don't think he quit. He just didn't look like he cared in that particular game. He did not quit, clearly, because he's still, maybe he was done with Chris Paul. I don't know. Maybe they were beefing again, but he played well in this game. 27 points on 4 rebounds, 9 assists, so 1 assist away from a double-double, 3 steals. I thought his defense was much better tonight as well. 1 turnover on 11 for 24 shooting, so he was uber aggressive. 5 for 14 from 3, which is a lot of threes, and he did not shoot well from 3. But we'll take it in a win. He was my player of the game, and we get back to winning ways. And now we'll see where it goes from there. But coming up, now I'm going to talk about one last game before I exit for the night. I have made a lot of content in the last 24 hours. We have the live reacting to Chris Paul getting kicked off the team. We have the live that it was reacting to the news. But I'm going to be, as I said, my quest to catch up with all the Laker games with the Laker fans. I am getting closer to that. What do you guys? Yeah, so I'm going to talk about the Lakers against the Bucks. This was the last game before LeBron James came back. And by the way, super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime. Give me your donation. I'll answer any questions you want if you want to ask more questions about the Clippers. But the Lakers and the Bucks, right? This was a very interesting game. I haven't really watched too many full Bucks games yet. Kevin Porter Jr., former Clipper, is out, and they are limited when it comes to shot creation. Very limited. They were starting, they've been starting Ryan Rollins. You got Kuzma in there. It's really just Giannis, who's been unbelievable so far this season. And how much help will he get kind of deal. And in this game, I mean, it looked like the very simple fact that, the commentary teams were hyping it up, hyping it up because of the Luka versus Giannis matchup. But the difference was Lakers have a second star, and that's Austin Reeves, and the Milwaukee Bucks don't. The Lakers did the Bucks the way that the Thunder did them in the first quarter. Matchups-wise, Kuzma was guarding Luka, and he could not guard him without fouling. Miles Turner on DeAndre Ayton, Ryan Rollins on Austin Reeves, AJ Green on Jake LaRavia, who started, and then Giannis was guarding Bronny, who started in this game. Bronny. No Gabe Vincent still, obviously no LeBron still, no Marcus Smart in this game, which made it that much more impressive that the Lakers were able to defend like that. However, context. When it comes to guarding Giannis, it's going to be bigger guys guarding him. The Bucks just have nobody that was able to take advantage of the absence of Marcus Smart. Because if the Lakers don't have Marcus Smart, they are not a very good defensive team on the perimeter. They're already not a very good defensive team with Marcus Smart. So Miles Turner was hedging on the ball screens with Luka, and Jackson Hayes was hedging on the ball screens the other way. Jericho Sims was in drop coverage because he could block shots. I don't know why they had Miles Turner hedging, but I think it was because they just wanted to get the ball out of Luka's hands, and it didn't really work. Luka still was able to go on a 10-0 run early on in the game, all on Kyle Kuzma, step back 3 after step back 3. Kuzma was 0 for 3 on open threes, and I thought the Lakers' defensive strategy was very interesting. They were switching 1 through 5, basically, and Miles Turner was not even looking to post up on the likes of Jake LaRavia or whatnot, and that's not what we saw. And by the way, if you're a member, you can watch the 2025 playoff post-game recaps that I never released for the public because I just didn't do them on time, but they're still coming out slowly but surely, so those are up for members only as well because I want to make sure that I have every single year that Dime Droppers existed playoff content on those series. But Miles Turner was being aggressive when he was getting small switched on him in those first 2 games against Milwaukee. And now he was not going to it at all. And I also thought Luka's defense was pretty good in this first quarter. And he's had some good defensive games this season. He forced a jump ball. He got a block. He had a shot contest that led to a miss. And Jake LaRavia was also working hard on D, not getting abused by bigger guys, doing a good job contesting shots and rebounding. And when Giannis came out of the game, none of the Milwaukee Bucks could score. I mean, it was brutal. He came out of the game with 6.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, and they were down 13-8. By the time Giannis came back in, it was 23-13. So they got outscored by 5, which wasn't too bad, but they just could not score at all. Could not score at all. And the Bucks broadcast said it was the fewest points of any first quarter they had that year, or sorry, any first quarter they had so far this season. The Lakers outscored them 30-18, which was the exact score after one when the Lakers lost to the Thunder. Second quarter, DeAndre Ayton. I thought he was very good, finishing almost everything around the rim, feeding off of Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic well. And then we saw Maxi Kleber minutes, and it was with another big man. So Maxi Kleber, we have not really seen him this season at this point. But he was playing with another, also Norui Hachimura, calf tightness. And he's been such a big part of what the Lakers have done so far this season through those first 13 games. So I was like, man, maybe the Bucks going to make this close. And it wasn't the case at all. And it really showed me a lot about the Bucks. But the Lakers were turning the Bucks over because they had no good perimeter creators, and they were able to get out and run. Again, when Giannis came out, I want to take a look because it was just such a funny trend of how bad they were without Giannis. And bless Giannis's heart, dude. He's working his ass off. It's crazy. It's really crazy. But anyway, what's it called? Jesus. Sorry, I was getting distracted by the chat. People that are listening on audio. By the way, I'm sorry for the lagging on releasing audio episodes. That's on me. I got to do a better job of that. But anyway, so let's see what the score is when Giannis comes out. So it's a 12-point game when Giannis comes out, and with 6 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the second quarter. By the time Giannis comes back in at 3 minutes and 4 seconds, the Bucks are down by 20. They got outscored by 8 in those minutes. So they were minus 13 in the non-Giannis minutes in the first half. Minus 13. Dalton Connect actually was hitting for once so far this season. Made a layup, had a dunk, hit a 3, and Jackson Hayes was doing a really good job coming in off the bench. Protected the rim, was running hard in transition, did a good job rebounding, made a good read out of the short roll. So the Lakers were killing them when, you remember I said they were hedging on Luka, so that would get Jackson Hayes into the short roll, and so he was making plays. So then they tried another strategy, switching Miles Turner on a Luka. That didn't really work that well either. AR also did a really good job, as I said, finding Ayton around the rim frequently, and those two have really built a good chemistry so far this season. So the Lakers were on a 25-2 run to make it 61-32 at one point of the second quarter. I mean, it was embarrassing. Ayton had 16 points at half. Luka had 21 points at half. The Milwaukee Bucks as a team only scored, we said it was their lowest scoring quarter of the season in that first quarter. Well, they topped that in the second quarter with only 16 points scored. And if you're wondering for the Lakers, who was guarding Giannis? Ayton was guarding Giannis. And he was doing okay. But it's the help. They were just throwing all their bodies on Giannis. Giannis is getting these guys wide open threes, and none of them are going in. None of them. The only guy who could make an open shot was AJ Green. Lakers were up 65-34 at half. 65-34. And my takeaways at that point were that the Lakers have 2 stars. The switching 1 through 5 scheme is working because nobody else besides Giannis can make a play. Nobody can shoot. And they're keeping Giannis out of transition because they keep scoring. That's the key. In the third quarter, the Bucks showed some fight. They went on a 15-0 run to begin, taking advantage of some Laker misses, and then AJ Green hit 3 threes. Bronny got subbed out so quick. It was like one of those, like, you're not good enough to play at this level things because he got scored on and he missed a wide open 3. And JJ was like, nah. So that was interesting to see because Bronny's actually had some good games so far this season. But Luka restored order. Every single time the Bucks would get closer to making a run, he would get fouled somehow. And the calls that he gets, I just don't get it. He gets every fucking call. But, got a good shot in the double drag and pick and rolls every time. But Giannis was working his ass off, 15 third quarter points. The Bucks cut it down to 14, but Luka just kept hitting contested threes. He had 13 third quarter points, but the third quarter did belong to the Bucks. They outscored the Lakers 38-27. Then in the fourth quarter, they cut it down to 13. But the Lakers were able to close it out. Austin Reeves hit 2 huge threes, one off the catch and one off the dribble, and that was all she wrote. 27-23 fourth quarter in favor of the Lakers, and they win it commandingly, 119-95 to make it 2 wins in a row after losing that game to the Thunder in bad fashion. As far as the lines, Lakers shot 49% from the field, Bucks shot 40. Lakers shot 39% from 3, Bucks shot 38. And the free throw disparity, the Bucks shot 67% from the free throw line, 24 attempts. Lakers shot 91% from the free throw line on 33 attempts. So that makes a difference as well. Bucks had 17 turnovers as a team. So did the Lakers, however, but they shot better from the field, from 3, and from the free throw line, and out-rebounded them because they have 2 stars, and Ayton completely outplayed Miles Turner. For the lines, I'm not even going to go into the bench with the Bucks. I'll just say Gary Trent had 13 points off the bench. Bobby Portis only had 8. So between those two, and then Cole Anthony was 0 for 5, 0 points. So they got nothing out of them. Then the starters, Kyle Kuzma had 1 point and 1 rebound and 1 turnover. That was his stat line for the game. 1 point, 1 rebound, and 1 turnover in 20 minutes on 0 for 6 shooting, 0 for 5 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Miles Turner had 3 points on 1 for 4 shooting and 1 for 2 from the free throw line. So 3, 8, and 1 for Miles Turner. No good. AJ Green had 15 points, 3 rebounds on 5 for 10 shooting, and all his shots were threes. Ryan Rollins had 10 points on 4 for 11 shooting and 0 for 3 from deep, 2 for 4 from the free throw line to go along with his rebound, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 3 turnovers. Then Giannis, another really solid night for Giannis. 32 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block, 5 turnovers. The rumblings are going to start getting loud with Giannis in terms of leaving because it was hard to watch. 9 for 15 from the field, made his only 3, 13 for 18 from the free throw line. As far as the, what's it called? As far as the Lakers, you got no Nick Smith Jr. in this game. He played 3 minutes, but not real rotation minutes. They only went 8 deep. Bronny James actually played the least amount of all the rotation players. A donut, 1 rebound, 1 dime, 1 steal, 0 for 2 from the field, and both those shots were threes. He was a -6 in 10 minutes, so not the best game from Bronny at all. Jackson Hayes, I thought he was really good. 10 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 2 turnovers on 3 for 4 shooting, and made all 4 of his free throws and was a +10. Very solid performance by Jackson Hayes off the bench. Maxi Kleba played 25 minutes and was a +22. However, I don't think he was necessarily very good. I just don't think he was bad, and that helps. Sometimes it's just good not to be bad. 3 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, made his only shot, and it was a 3. So I guess he played well. He played okay. Vando, I forgot about Vando. He had 8 minutes. They went 9 deep. Vando played 8 minutes, had a donut, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. And you would think in a game against Giannis and without, what's his name, Rui, and without Smart, you would get more Vando, but not really. Everybody else kind of held the fort down. DeAndre Ayton, what a solid game for him. And I think outside of about 4 games this season, he's been very good. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals and a block, 3 turnovers on 9 for 13 shooting, and made both his free throws. Really good game. 20 and 10, efficient in 28 minutes. You'll take that. And then you have Dalton Connect, who had one of his better games for me this season. 9 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals and a block. 1 turnover on 4 for 8 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3, and he was a +24. So very solid performance by Connect, just coming in, giving him some good stuff. 4 stocks and a couple of buckets. Then you have the remaining starters. Jake LaRavia. You would never be able to tell with this stat line that he had, because when he's catching the ball and he's throwing up threes, he's not even looking at the basket sometimes. 4 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and a turnover on 1 for 10 shooting, 0 for 4 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the free throw line. But he was a +26, which was the highest of any player in the game. And I'm telling you, it's because he was guarding up and doing a really solid job. So I'll give him credit. That guy's been balling out for the Lakers so far this season. And then finally, you got Austin Reeves and Luka. the most explosive backcourt so far this season in the NBA. 25 points for AR, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 steal, 3 turnovers on 9 for 17 shooting, 5 for 9 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. The guy's a beast. And then Luka, another 40-plus point outing, 41 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and even played some defense too. 3 turnovers on 9 for 19 shooting, 5 for 11 from downtown, and 18 for 20 from the free throw line. So a really good win for the Lakers. Luka was dominant. 20 free throw attempts is crazy. They move on to 10-4 and 7-2 on the road. And now we get to the part where LeBron is back. So let's see. I've covered 14 games. We're almost there. We're like, what, 6 or 7 games behind? Don't do that meme. So we'll get up there. We're almost there. Appreciate everybody for listening. And we'll be back. I don't know when the next game is. On Friday, I think on Friday. So peace out, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the content.